Okay, everybody, welcome again to another episode of Scrubcast. I guess this is the Scrubcast, the vodcast by and for Scrubs. I am Solaris Quixote, also Solaris X. I am your host. I am pretty bad. I fully admit that. And the purpose of this particular cast is to, well, the Scrubcast in general, is to help people who aren't very good learn certain heroes, learn playstyles of certain heroes by watching professional Dota matches. The goal is to follow, follow really good professional teams, look at particular heroes being played by very good players, and see what they're doing. What is it that they're contributing to the game? How are they playing their hero? What are they building? What's their positioning? When are they pushing? All these different things that a particular professional player might do with a particular hero that a lot of us scrubs, terrible players, don't really know about, don't really think about. I want to get better at this game, and I think other people do too. So my goal here is to kind of follow one hero. In this particular game, this was Epicenter. The one that just happened. This was in Moscow. This is a Newbee versus EHOME game. And the hero that I want to watch this particular game is Broodmother, played by, I think it's kpii. And the thing that's really interesting about a Broodmother, I've always been interested in watching Broodmother because Broodmother is a hero that is usually last picked. It's a surprise pick, and it's a very particular kind of response. And if you do not have the counters to it, and the player plays it correctly, then it's very difficult to deal with. And the nice thing about this is that Newbee did go on to win this. And so we're going to be able to see your typical Broodmother in action. We're going to be able to see what kpii did to make this work for his team. So again, just to point out that Broodmother is a hero that you can't just pick first. You can, but it's not going to work out very well. Certainly not in professional matches. You can maybe pick it in a scrub match, some sort of pub match or something. But this is a hero you really need to pick last, and the reason you pick it last is generally because you need to have the knowledge and be able to be sure that the enemy team is not going to have a counter. What makes Broodmother so devastating is the ability to surround her enemies with lots of little spiderlings. And if you have somebody like a Jakiro who does an AoE attack, you can hit a whole bunch of things at once, or an axe, which has a spitting, chop that will end up killing all of the little guys if they attack him. Axe is the best counter to Broodmother for a number of reasons. But in this particular matchup, you've got a situation where Newbee picks the Broodmother after an Enchantress is picked, who has no wave clear whatsoever. Outward Devourer, which has decent wave clear against big things, but not against a ton of little things. Individual attacks there. Lion, same deal. No wave clear except for a Spike, which is pretty lame. Nature's Prophet has, the ability to hit a whole bunch of, or generate a whole bunch of treants, but not really good wave clear. Good tower push, decent siege. Wraith King, absolutely no wave clear whatsoever. Maybe you'd have to get a Battle Fury to be able to do any wave clear on him. So this is a really good pick here, and they picked it, very last after they have a whole bunch of nice heroes in general. So you can see that what they're planning on doing with it is a standard Broodmother, an off lane. The Gyrocopter is going to be safe lane. You got the Disruptor. Is probably going to be safe lane with the Gyrocopter. I've seen this before in a previous video. Doom will, I guess, be roaming. Death Prophet will be mid. Doom might be jungling as well. Might be jungling enemy. Might be jungling his own jungle. But this is an off-lane Broodmother. We're in for a treat here. This is kind of what I'm interested in knowing. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go into the match. We're going to follow Broodmother. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is put on player perspective, and that's what this cast is all about. We just follow one particular hero the whole time. So he purchases kpii. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've looked at multiple pronunciations, and that seems to be the one that is correct. So the Broodmother starts off with the Soul Ring recipe, and I think that for scrubs, that might be a little confusing. For everybody else, that's pretty obvious. But the reason you start off with the Soul Ring recipe is because you don't want to have to leave the lane or use the courier to finish the Soul Ring. You want to be able to get that immediately. And the rest of the parts of the Soul Ring you can purchase at the little secret shop up here in lane. He also gets Observer Ward and Sentry Wards. It's very important for a Broodmother. Broodmother needs to be able to counter ward because she is going to be seen with Sentry Wards, and the only way to stop that is to counter ward those Sentry Wards, kill them very quickly, maybe with a Tango by eating the Sentry with a Tango. But she cannot be seen. That is her cloak. That is what she is most vulnerable to. So she's going to have to get some Sentry Wards and probably Observer Ward just to see if there's any ganks coming or anything like that, because they could always get dust. He does get a Stout Shield, presumably because Broodmother does early on need to be going in and hitting some creeps, actually putting herself forward before she has a Soul Ring. And then she's going to need his healing salve in case she tries, I guess in case somebody tries to get a gank against her. Nice stack of tangos just to be able to survive before she gets lots of regeneration in her webs. The 2-4, you can see the health regen as part of the spin web is 2, 4, 6, 8. So by the time she's got two points into spin web, she should be decent on health regen and probably will be okay on the tangos. Running out of tangos. Clarity so that she can go ahead and continue to keep her spin webs up until she gets that Soul Ring. So kpii is starting off in the lane. He starts off with a spider web, two actually, one close to the tower, a little bit below where he is right now, and one in the woods by the secret shop. And that's because he needs to be able to get access to the secret shop to get that Soul Ring. And he's going to get a last hit here, which is what... Actually, he missed that last hit. He goes ahead and gets a Tango. He wants to be in full health because this is a nasty combo. He needs to... he could actually get killed by a Wraith King stun and a Lion Hex and stun. So kpii starts off with a brilliant D ward. And I guess the way that works is he puts that web over there, they see the web, they see where he's going to be, they try to de-ward, or they try to put a ward up in that area because they know that's where he's going to be, where he's going to be hidden. So then you can easily de-ward that because it's just a small radius where your web is, you know where their ward's going to be. So that's what he did, and he ate that ward with the Tango. He even ate that with the Tango even though it wasn't really benefiting him very much. He already had a Tango on. It's very important for him to get rid of that as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to get stunned and killed or have his ward de-warded. So the Doom is actually coming up here and pulling this lane, trying to get experience actually in the jungle there, try to get some experience, get some levels, do things.
That feels better.
Gotcha.
kpii using his spawn spiderlings in order to get a couple last hits. He does need some last hits. He does need enough gold to get that Soul Ring. As you can see here, the Ring of Regen is 325, plus the Sage's Mask is 325. Very easy item to build up into. And he's going to go ahead and purchase the Regen. No, he purchased the Sage Mask because he needs mana. And that makes a lot of sense. He doesn't have any more clarities. He already popped the clarity a little while ago. And he's going to either get killed here, or he's going to barely survive. He's lucky the other team. He's lucky his team actually just got first blood seconds before he died there. So he's going to come back up here, presumably with the ward, and try to figure out where this ward is. And it'll be interesting to see where he tries. He does have 2 points in the spin web. Went ahead and spawned spiderlings as soon as he got to level 2 so he can get some last hits. He's going to pull one up now. And he finds it immediately. He finds that ward as soon as he puts it down. And he eats the ward with the Tango, so the enemy team doesn't have any chance at killing his ward before he kills their ward. Very important. So now he starts the spiderlings. He sits back. He uses his spawn spiderlings in order to spawn the spiderlings. For the most part, I'm guessing he's not going to really be in the battle very much, except for maybe when it's safe like this. He doesn't have to worry too much right now because he's pretty close to his tower, pretty far away from the enemy's area. He's going to keep trying to get last hits here. Spawn spiderlings, start generating a big brood. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward past what appears to be a massive issue. So this is very early on. We're only at 3 minutes and 37 seconds. He's already got 5 broodlings running around. And he starts casting. He wants to be, if you can see here, he's moving away from the secret shop now. Well, he's actually got the secret shop. So he's got this whole area covered. I guess so he can kind of abuse the cliff here, be able to move up into the secret shop, stay in this lane, also come over here. He doesn't want to get under the tower, because if he's under the tower, of course they're going to be able to see him. And if he can sit here, he can just sit here and just cast his spawn spiderlings. He's already got a soul ring, which is very easy to purchase. And so this is, you know, he stays out of trouble if he's in the woods here. They're going to have a hard time ganking him. He has access to the entire, pretty much the entire lane, and he does have access. The other thing about this is he has access to this camp right here. Now the Doom is currently farming that camp, actually bullying that camp. Maybe. But this is where Broodmother really starts to get nasty, because she's going to generate a huge brood. She's already got, I don't know how many that is, quite a few. 8 maybe? 8 broodlings. And she has all she needs to continue to put pressure in this tower. And now she moves in to put pressure in the tower. As soon as she has the level 3 spawn spiderlings, oh, that is disgusting. The level 3 spawn spiderlings, the spin web, the soul ring. She goes ahead and removes the spell, the web over here, under the little secret shop, and puts it right into the tower so that she can start pressuring the tower. And in addition to pressuring the tower, she gets a kill on the Raid King there. Doom was in the area, so the Doom definitely helped out, but this is what you hate to see if you have no wave clear, because you know, look at all those broodlings. That's 18 damage per broodling, 18 times every single broodling. Now it's actually kind of nice. The looks like the Enchantress got a Wild Ring Ripper and is using the Tornado to try to counter these spiderlings. It's a desperate move, but it's somewhat effective. You can see that the kpii has to move away. Now look at how much damage those things are doing. Just a few of them were doing a significant amount of damage to the Wraith King there. So I'm going to go back to the player perspective. So he's sitting off to the left. He doesn't have any vision to the right. And all he's really doing is sustaining his army at the moment, making sure he doesn't get ganked. He didn't have a ward or this web over the secret shop, which explains why he was being very protective there. He didn't have the ability to run away to the left. His right side looks like it might have been overtaken. He looks at the enemy team and he only sees one guy bottom and one guy top. Might be a gank on him. So very smartly, he's paying attention to his map. He's realized he doesn't have the escape route that he needs just yet, and he's getting out of the way. He also didn't have support. Doom was out of the lane. Now Doom is back in the lane, and he probably is going to get a little more aggressive here. He soul rings, then he... That's an interesting move. So he TP's out because he saw the gank coming. He didn't bother to stay in the area. He doesn't necessarily know what they have. I'm sure he's clicking on their units. No dust, but they do have a ward, and that's probably what he's afraid of. So he's staying way back. They got very aggressive here. Very good game sense by kpii. He seems to know really know when to stay back, when to push forward, when to get out of the lane. I'm sure he's played Brood a number of times and knows when the kind of ganks are coming. He can kind of sense, okay, there's nobody on the map. I know Lions can potentially be down here sometimes. Lanham's getting pretty aggressive, and he shouldn't be because he knows if an aggressive Lanham is probably going to get killed by spiderlings if there's no backup support. So, again, he's playing very defensive here, still trying to keep up his army, but he's staying out of the jungle. Now, if me being the scrub that I am, I probably would keep, trying to keep dodging like the heroes, I would just be right there hitting the hero over and over again. But okay, so he knew that they had vision on him somehow. And I think he just lost his ward. I think they dewarded him before he could deward them. Which is a dangerous thing to do, but now he knows where the ward is, and maybe he can have a chance to get rid of it. I'm not sure what he has on him.
Radiant's bottom
He has a
tower
tango
is under attack.
to eat one. He doesn't. He's got a Gloves of Haste. I'm guessing, yeah, so he's going for a Midas. Go ahead and pause this team fight. Go back so we can see what's happening. So his players come, his teammates come in, the Death Prophet comes in, the Gyro comes in, attacks, gets a kill on the Lion, and the Disruptor comes in. Schwann on the Disruptor comes in and gets a glimpse on old Lanham, and Lanham dies. kpii doesn't really contribute much to that other than kind of sitting back and not being the one that gets ganked. He does maybe, you know, his presence in the lane is annoying for the enemy, and they have to be careful. But they were being pretty aggressive there, and I think maybe they got over-aggressive because he was out of the lane. Maybe that, you know, his lack of aggression was helping them be overconfident and not and be susceptible to that gank. But that's probably giving him more credit. He was just trying to be careful, I think. So he helped push us down that tower. He doesn't do too much. He moves into this next area, and so what he does is he covers this camp so he can go ahead and start spawning some spiderlings and then putting pressure on the lane. He does have a little bit of access to the lane from this position. I'm guessing he's going to go ahead and put another spider web to the east of that, further in lane, kind of on these trees over here. Yeah. Not in the top lane. I think a lot of people, I see them moving in the very top lane, but that doesn't allow you to farm these little camps. He's getting to the point where he's going to be able to farm these camps very nicely, and so he doesn't have to have any little spiderlings in the lane. He can go down, take all the spiderlings, farm these camps, keep farming these camps every single time they spawn, start generating a huge stack, and as soon as the enemy leaves the lane, he is going to push it to a tower, and it's going to be nasty. He's going to do 18 times every single one of these little guys damage, and that's a pretty big stack right there.
Dire's middle
I don't know how many that is.
under attack.
15? I can't even tell. So he already has a Midas. He's thinking about getting quite a few items, using his financial advantage. There's no items right now are going to be, I guess, as important as the contribution he's making by pushing. So he needs to be able to, I think, accelerate his farm later on. And maybe that's the thinking on the Midas, be able to get really nice fat items, be able to push towers. I'm guessing he's probably going to go for, well, I'm curious. I don't know who he's going to go for. Maybe a Silence, maybe a Hex. Expensive items if he's going to be getting a Midas. He also is using the Hand of Midas for the experience, and I think that's something that I typically forget about. I usually think Hand of Midas as being all about the gold. But the experience is important for him. He still has quite a few levels to go, and if he's going to contribute in this game as an actual hero as opposed to just pushing towers, he needs to be pretty beefy. Because Broodmother is not the nastiest hero, especially if he's like out of his web, or she's out of her webs. She's not really good one-on-one. She's not going to be able to do a tremendous job against, you know, an Enchantress with the Untouchable. I imagine that Broodmother's going to get her ass kicked by an OD. She's going to get Nature's Prophet just surrounded, you know. So she's going to have to get some decent farm. I'm guessing some control items. Probably a Hex, maybe a Silence, an Orchid. Not sure what else she's going to do. Maybe a Frost. Not sure. We'll see. So as they're setting up for this gank mid lane, she is contributing by being in the top lane, which is what Broodmother does best. She's a split pusher. Until she has decent items, she really can't do much else. And so the end, you know, Newbee is a really strong position to use this because you really can't attack on a Gyro, a Disruptor, and a Death Prophet, which is really what's happening down there. and EHOME is getting their butts kicked. All the while, the Broodmother just sits up there and pushes the lane. So this is what's so devastating about this team. It's a really smart setup by Newbee. They're very ultimate driven. And while they have all their ultimates up and they're ready to go, they're ready to team fights even if they're only 4. They don't need the Broodmother. So what they're doing is they're coming in and they just 4v5 the entire team, wipe the entire team, didn't lose a 1 hero. While the Broodmother's pushing towers. So the Broodmother keeps the tower push going. They basically, you wait till all their ults are up, then they push when they're the strongest. Now, I'm sure that as soon as the EHOME is back up, the Newbee's gonna back off. As soon as the players are back, and there they are, they're backing off. And Broodmother did the job that she needed to do, and Newbee is back to farming. And they'll probably attack again when the next ultimate is up. So, looks like kpii is going for the Necronomicon. Excellent pushing tool. Level 3 is going to see invisibility, which is going to be great to stop potential ganks. Great tower push. It's actually pretty decent damage. And Necronomicon does decent damage. I don't think people realize that. If you look at the level 3 Necronomicon damage of each individual unit, it's pretty good, especially if the enemy mistakenly kills whatever that little guy is. I can't remember his name, the one that does damage if you kill it. That's a lot of damage. I think it's like 400 or 500 damage, and I'm guessing it's pure. I don't really know. There's a lot of damage. You don't really want to kill those if you're even close to being low. And Nature's Prophet, you know, I don't think that the little treants, I think maybe they take the damage, but if he ults and he accidentally kills that little guy, then he could take a decent amount of damage. Now there's a Roshan fight, and EHOME is actually dying. Gyrocopter does get killed, but EHOME does lose 3. They lose their Lion, their Wraith King, their Enchantress. Newbee's still losing players. Meanwhile, the Broodmother continues to push, as she does. At this point, the Newbee lost 2 cores there. That wasn't the best fight for them. They didn't have their ults up, but they still were able to kill 3 of the enemy. And the better part of all this is that there's still, this tower up top is at half health. It's 15 minutes into the game, and kpii is starting to get fat. kpii is level 11. kpii has a Hand of Midas, already has a Necronomicon, set up to do pretty much whatever, continues to farm these jungle creeps. And, you know, Enchantress is level 7. Line is level 7. I mean, Outward Devour is probably the highest level Wraith King, highest level 11. So, you know, if the kpii were to get anywhere around the Enchantress or anywhere around the line, those two, they're dead. kpii can just solo them very easily. So this is a very dangerous situation. You can't have either of those two push out against the Broodmother. Now, Newbee's probably going to lose. Yeah, they're going to lose their doom here. Meanwhile, the rest of the teams, the Death Prophet, the Disruptor, the Gyros, ults are all up. My guess is that they're just going to go ahead and push that bottom tower down there. With the ults that they had, they probably are fine. They already killed the Nature's Prophet. So now they're pushing this tower, and they can do that because the Broodmother is creating space. The enemy team, EHOME, has to push out against this Broodmother. They have to be able to push the lane because every single time that they're trying to do anything against the rest of Newbee's team, they're trying to defend their own towers, they're trying to farm their own jungle, there's this constant, ever-present push that is not going to stop until it eliminates the racks. And meanwhile, kpii farms. So it's, you know, it's not just the push, it's the farm. And I don't think kpii died. Oh, she died once, and he died once, and that's very early on. We saw it early on. Necronomicon level 2, prioritizing the damage, the intelligence, the strength, bonuses, not needing anything else, has a TP, has a stout shield. Probably could get rid of the stout shield, but I'm guessing right now the level 3 Necronomicon is the priority because of its ability to push down towers really quickly. Also, discovered Viz units, burn mana, and you know, burning mana against a Wraith King is fantastic. It only has 585 mana and it's all cost 160 at the moment. I don't know what level. It's 160, I guess, no matter what level it is, but You burn enough of his mana and he's not going to regenerate. That ultimate is gone. Although at this point he does have 3 lives, the Aegis. So right now Newbee pushing mid lane, pushing top lane. Oh, sorry, I had the wrong person selected. Newbee is sitting in top lane, pushing with the Broodmother, sitting in their own jungle, farming their own jungle. It looks like they're getting to form up to push on bot lane, maybe mid lane. Not really sure here. They have all of their ultimates up. This is the time they want to fight, although they may not want to fight into the Aegis. And maybe what they're going to do, because the Broodmother has vision of the Aegis carrier, had vision of the Aegis carrier, they were going to push until the Aegis carrier TP'd, but the smart move by EHOME was to get rid of the vision that kpii had over the Aegis carrier. So by putting pressure on kpii, coming up here trying to gank kpii TP's away, doesn't mess with that, doesn't bother trying to run away, just TP's out. I think it's a pretty smart move. You can reestablish the army a little bit later on. But for the moment, EHOME is able to, I think, disrupt any particular push attempts, and Newbee may be getting ready to get close to some items here. That may be what's going on. So Gyro very close to a BKB. That's probably what they're waiting for. Disruptor. Going for, I guess that's the Urn. And there's the Rod of Atos. So that item pickup, I'm guessing, is going to be followed by the BKB,
Radiant's middle
and then
tower
that'll
is
be
under
followed by
attack.
the next push.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Meanwhile, Broodmother just stays top, not ever leaving lane, continuing the experience push, using the Hand of Midas, getting levels, highest levels possible, avoiding ganks. Almost, and actually, Old 11 actually is able to get in there and get vision of kpii. Although kpii ults and actually is going to kill Nature's Prophet before the Nature's Prophet is able to get a kill on him, which goes to show you the power of the ultimate on Broodmother, plus the experience bonuses, plus the Necronomicon. Well, actually, the Necronomicon was pushing, but the little Spiderlings, tremendous amount of damage. You underestimate how much damage that those things are going to be doing. And look how hard it is for Landon to clear these out. It just takes absolutely forever. And he's going to get his butt kicked here. He is not in a good position. BKB was purchased by Howl the Gyro. Very powerful, although it just ran out. He might get killed here. Dead Prophet's ult is going. There's virtually nothing that's going to stop that. They lose a Doom. They lose the Broodmother. They're able to get the kill the Nature's Prophet, get a kill on everybody but the Enchantress. That is definitely a very good fight there for Newbee. Brood is back up. Brood is switching lanes now. And that makes a lot of sense. The mid lane needs to be pushed. There is gold there. They could easily take out another tower. It looks like he's going to go ahead and push pretty far in here. And he already has a pretty decent Spiderling army. Go ahead and cast the Necronomicon level 3 at this point. He, by the way, just now got his boots. Got rid of the shield, just recently got his boots, which makes sense. He's actually just now running around the map. That's another reason why he was staying top, is because he did not have boots. He was able to run around and support mid lane, but the enemy team was weak. His team had just killed most of them off. He used that as an opportunity just in that brief period of time to push that lane. The Enchantress actually capturing one of the Necronomicon units there. And Newbee killing it.
Radiant structures are fortified.
But Brood goes back to top. Have that tower being pushed.
Is under attack.
Brood wants to create the most space possible, so the Brood wants to be in the farthest end of the map. I think that's really clever. You know, don't be in the middle, because then the enemy units can get to you a lot faster. You want to be in the top lane. You want to be in the bottom lane. to put constant pressure. And I'm guessing that what's going to happen is Broodmother's going to continue to push this tower until the tower and the racks go, and then she's going to switch to the bottom. Although at this point, Newbee is starting to snowball. I should say they have been snowballing. They're starting to get a little out of control. Although EHOME does have a team that it's going to take a little longer to come online because of the Wraith King. Wraith King has the Radiance, which is a really good tool against the Spiderlings. The Spiderlings can't last forever against him, and he does have a little bit of vampiric. He does have vampiric R, which means he's going to be able to do a decent amount of damage. Or he's going to be able to gain health to survive against the Broodling push. And the Blade Mail is actually going to be able to be pretty good if all those little Spiderlings are attacking him. He's going to return some significant amount of damage, and you add that to the Radiance and his right clicks. He's going to be able to do decently now against the Broodlings. So it's curious to see how the Broodmother deals with this. She gets the boots of travel. She wants to be able to counter. She's going to move around the map a little bit faster. It makes a lot of sense. She wants to be able to push more areas at one because that Wraith King is causing a problem. And that's something that I probably would not have thought of if I were playing the Broodmother at this point. If you have a problem pushing one lane, what is the solution? You can get items, and you can try to deal with that somehow, but I don't think you're going to be able to make your unit strong enough to counter what's going on with the Wraith King. So the solution is to be in two places at once. Force the Wraith King to be in two places at once. Force the Wraith King to move about. Force the Wraith King to buy boots and travel. And be everywhere. Push as many lanes as possible. Use this advantage that she has to generate huge broods of broodlings as quickly as possible. Push down these towers. 25 minutes into the map, Broodmother has complete control of the top lane again. Pushing it directly into the tower. She has no idea where the enemy is though, so she's being very careful and staying far away. Wonder if she's gonna, she's just gonna keep the pressure on the tower. The Radiance burns slowly, but it's gonna be impactful over the long term, but it does take a while. So the one web that Brood has over in the bot lane. Okay, she's about to get ganked. She runs across the trees, TPs out as soon as possible. Excellent gank, or excellent avoidance of a gank there. She actually has no webs anywhere on this side of the map. I imagine that kpii is going to have to put some over there if he wants to be effective in multiple places. He may even be mid, but I'm guessing he's going to go to the extremes. I'm guessing he's going to go to the far top and the far bottom so as to spread the enemy out as much as possible, create that space for his team. Now at this point, looks like they're getting ready to Roshan, 26 minutes, and there's no way EHOME's going to be able to walk into this. There's just no way. You've got the Death Prophet ult, you've got House, cooldown. Actually, they come in with the smoke. Here come all of the ults on Team Newbee. Just absolutely obliterating EHOME here. There was no chance. I would have never done that if I were EHOME. I'm a scrub, and I knew they would have lost that fight. And at this point, I really wonder whether it's even worth, casting the rest of it, because you've already seen what the Broodmother does. I think it tilted the team. Number one, I think they realized they were really screwed. They built as best as they could against it. They keep putting that Wraith King up there in that lane. When you keep the Wraith King in that lane, they expose the Wraith King to ganks. That's their number one. That's EHOME's number one carry at this point. I don't think that the OD is going to be able to counter this. But what do you do? If a Wraith King can't be everywhere, Broodmother's able to push mid lane, bot lane, top lane, got a Boots of Travel, Necronomicon level 3. That's all that she has right now. I mean, she's got good levels too. That's another big difference. And you can just see the huge amount of damage she already did to that Enchantress. But instead of following the Enchantress, they're just going to keep the pressure on the racks. A lot of money going to be in these barracks. And the ults are back up again for Newbee, and they're already pushing through. But they're so dominant right now. I seriously think there's anything EHOME can do to counter this. And Broodmother not fighting. Could have, but the ult was down, so probably not the best, because that means she's not going to be able to gain enough health back to stay alive long enough.
Radiant's top tower
And
is
her
under
contribution is in not being dead. Her contribution is in being everywhere at once.
Here's my pension.
And pushing all the towers. Going for a BKB, and that makes a lot of sense. The Wraith King stun is a really nasty way to kill Broodmother. The Lion can kill Broodmother that way. The OD, Astral Imprisonment, can do pretty decent damage by creating an opportunity for the enemy team to get ranged. Just cast some dust, get a kill. So BKB is going to prevent them from being able to kill Broodmother anymore. And really it's just a nail in the coffin, because they've already had a heck of a time being able to even see the Broodmother. But now they're not going to be able to kill the Broodmother even if they see the Broodmother, because she's just going to TP as soon as she BKBs. And there's nothing none of their ultimates or anything, none of their abilities go through BKB. There's literally nothing they can do. Just stand there and watch the Brood. And so then she TP's out, and she's done. I will go ahead and continue casting this, though. I think it's worthwhile to see what teams do to keep their winning streak, to keep their push alive, to make sure the enemy team doesn't come back. I think that's important to see how they deal with, for example, the split push of this Nature's Prophet. And this is another example of why the Boots of Travel are helpful on the Broodmother, so that she can participate in team fights if necessary. Go wherever the team is. If she has her ult up and she has an Necronomicon up, she's a very high level at this point. I haven't actually not anticipated just how much she's going to be able to contribute to the team fights. Level 17. You've got a level 16 Nature's Prophet. Level 18 Wraith King. A level 11 Lion. If the Broodmother's able to get vision and attack this line, the Lion is dead. There's nothing the Lion can do. Enchantress is only level 11, and the Outward Devourer is only level 15. So this Broodmother is going to be able to contribute pretty well to fights because of the experience, the 2 extra levels on the OD, and the 6 extra levels on against the 2 supports. Now that's just, that's not even considering all the rest of the team. The rest of the alts and levels of Team Newbee get a level 18 Doom, 14 Doom, which actually is a lower level than the Broodmother. That makes sense. He was out of the lane a lot. He died a decent number of times. Death Prophet's actually lower level. Disruptor's lower level. Gyrocopter's 18. So the only hero with higher level than kpii is the Gyrocopter. Here's the BKB. Curious to see how the Broodmother does this. You can see the Broodmother's not really using webs right now. I think that's interesting. It's like kpii is just saving those for very specific instances. He's no longer just sitting in one particular area and pushing one particular area. He's moving around with his team, and I guess that makes sense because it's very dangerous right now to be by yourself, even for kpii. And the 5-man push is going to be game-ending. And just look at the power behind all of it. You can't have one Wraith King come up and just kill all those guys. If your entire team is there to kill the Wraith King, I think that maybe that's the calculation. Well, that Radiance really does do some amount of damage. Now you got the Death Prophet ult. It's going to take everybody else out. You got all the ults around if necessary. Wraith King can stun only once. Gyro's going to ult, do a decent amount of damage. Kill the Wraith King. And here come the BKBs. Huge amount of damage. kpii goes ahead and puts on the web just to be able to get some attack speed. Runs into the enemy base. They're all going to run into the enemy base. This is just game over. And that's the Aegis on the Gyro. That's only the Aegis. They lose. kpii dies, but he's able to kill pretty much the whole team. The racks are gone. Everything but the... this is game. There's no real...
Radiant's bottom tower
There's
is
no
under
real game
attack.
left in this. Still, again, as we're seeing late game, this is kpii is using his his abilities to their max, and that he's not. You have this huge line of broodlings to push. That's the siege engine at this point. Of course, you can also use the Death Prophet ult, but that's on top of already a nasty siege engine. And so you don't need the Death Prophet to be front line if you have the Broodmother to be front line. That's going to pull the only thing that can counter this out, which is the Wraith King. The Wraith King is going to come forward, and then you just drop everything. You drop the Disruptor ult, you drop the Gyrocopter ult, you drop the Doom ult, and anybody who comes out, and you drop the Doom ult, I'm guessing, on the OD, and then the whole team is dead. There's nothing that the enemy can do. And so the Boots of Travel, using the Spin Web as a accelerator, it looks like. And now he gets a Blink Dagger, another mobility item. It makes sense, I think, because of how slow Broodmother is. You know, even with Boots of Travel, Broodmother is still pretty slow, and she can out jump on people pretty quickly, and can compete with the rest of the team to be able to push in. And this is the Death March. It looks like Moo said, "Let's do it. Let's go ahead and push the bottom lane." So we'll see how kpii plays this last fight, just to get one more example of how he's fighting this and how he's going to use a Blink Dagger. They're going to go ahead and smoke in. They don't want to have any wards reveal that their entire rest of the team is here. I don't know about that. Okay, they're going to go for a flank. I think that's a much better decision, because of course if there's a gyro there, they're going to think the rest of everybody else is behind them. This is actually very surprising. They're not going to expect, EHOME is not going to expect that there to be no backup behind gyro. Although it looks like they're going right back to push. Death Prophet ult. kpii is not doing much except abusing the tower, or the cliff, being able to walk up the cliff. He does cast the webs there just to be able to retreat quickly and regenerate his health, and climb right over that cliff if necessary to get into the enemy base very quickly. And that's actually pretty powerful. He can get in there and he can cast his spawn spiderlings and quickly get access to the enemy with his Blink Dagger. Cast Insatiable Hunger, then BKB, and he can cast his Necronomicon and do a huge amount of damage, probably kill a hero, especially if he gets able to get to a support. So it's interesting, they weren't able to make that successful. Sounds like what they're going to do is push their moves. Looks like what they're going to do is they're going to sit back, they're going to go ahead and kill this Roshan, wait for the next Death Prophet ult, go in for the final kill. And that makes sense to me. They're not really, they're so far ahead, they've choked off the enemy's resources. They've got serious level advantage on EHOME, serious gold advantage on EHOME. They pushed, they did a decent amount of damage without losing any heroes. If they have an Aegis, there's virtually nothing they can do, because Gyrocopter's going to be able to come back alive. The net worth graph is, yeah.
Almighty money.
My guess is he's not going to farm back. He's not going to farm up for his buyback. He's going to keep this area, this whole area, final push, covered with webs, so he can quickly move about in pretty much any direction. He doesn't need to worry about casting that web anymore. He can just quickly move. They're not going to care about the bottom. Tier 2, if the enemy's pushing that, as soon as they see the enemy pushing it, they're going to go in and push those towers, and that's it. He blinks out. He wants to get out pretty quickly. He can do that. He's already invisible. They don't have a dust on him. They're not going to hit him. Radiance does stop the blink a little bit. That's interesting. He bought the blink into the Radiance. I guess he's looking to be much more aggressive with it, and that makes, in the position they're in, that's a good idea. You can be aggressive with it. His team's not letting him farm spiderlings. I don't know why not. That would be nice if he had some spiderlings there. They can go ahead and push straight in. But they're probably just thinking, well, we're just going to push him with this Death Prophet, and it's not going to matter. Okay. There's that Death Prophet ult. That's pretty early Death Prophet ult. Death Prophet does not have Refresh. Okay, so kpii is on the far right side. He's trying to get an attack advantage. He does have invisibility, blinks in, is not able to get anything done, does back off, but it doesn't much matter. His team's doing so much damage, he's just going to probably push, although he's actually going to get killed here because he is actually one of the weakest targets on the team. If he's not actually hitting an enemy, he doesn't have regen. And he did it blink in pretty aggressively. Maybe you could argue he was able to get their attention, get the enemy team's attention, but this was a lost fight for Newbee. They did not do a very good job in this fight. I think tilted there, going around like crazy. Looks like EHOME had a really good counterattack there. And now Newbee is in a bit of a tight spot. They're going to get, EHOME is going to come take this tower. They're going to be able to probably push in on this next tower a little bit. Gyro buyback is not up. Now they may not know that, but the team may not know that. See what they do. And they retreat. They're just going to let the creep wave go up. Oh no, they are here. Maybe a fake retreat there. Or maybe that was unintentional. But the gyro is coming back up, and there is the disruptor glimpse, so they are going to back off with plenty of time to spare. You don't want to get caught by a Thunderstrike glimpse combo. That would be dumb. One of their hero dies. Pretty much any hero is going to be a problem, and Newbee would be able to take a pretty significant advantage of that. So we have a Doom, has the blink. We have a Death Prophet, does not have a blink. Going for Shiva's Guard. We have a Disruptor. Going for Vladimir, which is interesting. I guess that makes sense if you want to have the Spiderling survive and have overall a decent amount of health gain for your team. With the Gyro there, that's helpful too. Gyro has, is clearly building for damage. Probably. I'm not sure if that, I don't know when he picked up that Morbid Mask, but I guess he's gonna finish the Helm of the Dominator here. Going into Satanic, that makes a lot of sense. He needs to be able to regen his health, be able to continue the sustained push. Oh, so, okay, Vladimir's offering, that's Broodmother, picked that up. Disruptor picked up something else. He should be getting the Force Staff. Glimmer Cape seems to be an item that Schwann gets on Disruptor. Pretty good item, gets somebody the hell out of dodge. Uses it on Hal. Okay, so here's the fight. kpii doesn't do much here. He probably just casts his spawn Spiderlings. He hasn't done that yet because everybody was BKB'd. He does blink in and he is actually hitting them, slowing them down a little bit with his ultimate. And his incapacitating bite, which is very nice. So that's what he's doing. He's kind of like a mobile slow right now. He blinks in, he ults, he just hits them, tries to slow them down a little bit. Not very good against the BKB. Go back and look at that fight again just to kind of review what he did. Because that's one of the biggest problems I have with Broodmother is how do you fight into these late team fights? I don't know how to do that. Again, they're not letting him build up Broodlings at this point. I'm not sure why. Maybe they just want the farm for everybody else. That's probably the much bigger important thing. He does have a few of these things. Maybe he can get a few last hits, but to create the huge amount of Broodlings, he does need to get the last hits because he needs to be able to use his spawn Spiderlings. So here comes the fight. Slow-mo this. So it's initiated by Lanham on the Wraith King. They absolutely blow up the Death Prophet. Death Prophet's unable to get an ult out. The gyro alt does this huge amount of damage. Doom is actually in. He's doing. I think that was actually mostly the gyro doing all that damage. kpii really didn't do much. Watch out just one more time, just to see what his positioning is. So he's positioned way far away. It looks like what he's doing is he's trying to stay back, just in preparation for a blink in. And also, he needs to avoid a lot of the initial damage. He needs to avoid the OD ult. He needs to avoid any ultimates by Lion. Okay, so there's the blink in. So this way down. So he is back. He actually casts a web. He first needs to be able to get quick speed and regen. It's important for him. He goes in. He looks like he's starting to try to hit Lanham. That's probably his kill target. He wants to be able to get close to him, slow him down, and do as much as he can. Blinks forward, uses his slow. I don't think his slow affects anybody who's BKB'd, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure, actually. That's a good question. So I'm actually going to go the perspective of OD, who does get hit a few times. Yeah, he's affected by incapacitating bite, although he's not currently BKB'd. Enchantress is BKB'd and is affected by incapacitating bite. So that is an interesting thought. BKB all you want, the incapacitating bite is going to go right through that. That was a devastating fight for both teams, but most clearly Newbee, the Death Prophet, got absolutely blown up. The gyro died in addition to that, and the Disruptor. Broodmother stays alive, and Doom stays alive, but that's not very good. Brood and Doom are not going to be all that good if you've got up against a Wraith King. The Wraith King will probably just solo them without any problem. I wouldn't be surprised if they switch up the strategy here, and they want to go ahead and let the Broodmother push multiple lanes, push all the lanes out, get a really good, get in a really good position, take Roche whenever Roche comes back up, and then once again finish off these towers. You know, they've gotten really close. All they have left to do is just 2 racks, and that's going to be game. They do not have. EHOME does not have the wave clear to deal with. The monster creeps, the big creeps. So. I'm not sure what kpii is farming up for. Probably just for buyback. Maybe gonna go for a. I mean, Hex would be really nice right about now. Be able to deal with some of these heroes, but they're gonna be able to. You know, the Hex doesn't go through BKB, so that's not necessarily a very good option if he can get it off before he can BKBs. But first person, the last fight, he was not the initiator at all. He stood way back and waited to sort of counter-initiate. He was not involved. He wanted to avoid a lot of the initial damage. He was more cleanup. So I'm not sure if he's going to grab a Hex. It still might be nice to just be able to sit back, Hex, cast something. He's kind of playing a support role here. He's playing a pushing support role. He's got the incapacitating bite. He's going to do a decent amount of damage. But his level advantage now is dwindling. He does not have that level. Nature's Prophet is higher level than him. Wraith King's much higher level than him. Lion's still pretty low. Enchantress is still pretty low. That's going to be good. But an Outward Devourer is still a little lower than him. So with the level advantages, I think at this level is starting to become less significant compared to the items that are at play here.
A gift from the tempest of battle.
So starting to get around the Roche pit, probably getting ready to take this Roshan, setting up some webs, getting in a position to be able to team fight. Needs that regen, needs that invisibility. But there is no real advantage for him, other than surprising the enemy. the advantage of having invisibility, having the webs up, having a little bit of regen, being able to blink in. Be great if he had a hex, because if he could be invisible and blink in and be able to get the start with the hex, that would be much better. Start off with a hex on a key hero and be able to have the rest of his team below that hero up during the hex if possible, just the way that the Death Prophet was initiated on. So everybody's ults are up, except for Doom's and Nature's Prophets. Doom had just cast it, killed Nature's Prophet with the ult. They're waiting for the Roshan. There's really not much happening. But you can see what kpii is doing around the Roche Pit. He is using his Spiderlings to investigate the Roche Pit. He's keeping a few there, just so the enemy can't walk in there and kill his only Spiderling. He's scouting with another Spiderling. You see that? Spiderling right here. Wants to see any movement coming through this area. He's just using his Spiderlings as information, and right now that's much more important than pushing. Information around the Roche Pit is more important. They need to be able to see. This is actually a maximum respawn on Roche, so they know that's what's happening now. I'm sure they're getting ready to fight, but they need to get back to the spot lane. They send Broodmother to do that. It's a good choice. Broodmother can quickly push back this lane. Should not die. As a BKB, has a spin web to get invisibility. If necessary, it's going to TP out. And going for the Basher. Basher giving a chance to mini stun the target, bash the target, and I'm sure that's going to get into, I guess that's an Abyssal. Comes out of the Basher, which is going to be a really fantastic item to be able to deal with another stun. I guess it's better than a Hex for him because it's going to be damage. And there's the bash, nice bash. It's a bashing Enchantress, but that's not going to kill the Enchantress. Touchable's a nasty spell. He's actually going to have to run away from this Enchantress. Meanwhile, once again, Death Prophet gets blown up. They try to go into the mid lane while the enemy team was pushing, and the enemy team TP'd back, and
You have a mother's
he died.
gratitude.
Gyro is dead. This is starting to look like a comeback here from EHOME. This is a much closer game than they thought, and clearly Roche is up at this point. I don't know why he's there. He doesn't really need to show that. He's putting some webs there, but he should be pushing this. He's not going to be able to defend his tower, his barracks against this. The best that he can do is create some counter push, push back into the lane. I guess he is able to see activity there with the web, which is interesting. I didn't know you could see that. I didn't know it provided any vision at all. Maybe that's just the observer mode that I'm in here. He was sending Spiderlings there to see what's going on. So that's a bad move from Newbee there. They get punished. They lose the Roshan. This game's going to be extended. And the power of the Broodmother is seriously dwindling. A Basher's great. A Basher allows the Broodmother to contribute to the fight. Mini stuns are fantastic. Abyssal Blade's really good. Trying to come in, going to be able to blink in, be able to finish up a level 11 here. That's good. It blinks into the trees there to be able to kill old 11. That's nice little trick. It's unfortunate that old 11 didn't attack kpii. I guess old 11 was probably trying to TP out, and that's 100 seconds down from the Nature's Prophet. Yeah, the Nature's Prophet is pretty decently farmed. Running around with the Daedalus and the Mjolnir. Very important to have a Mjolnir against a Broodmother. Be able to have that hop damage. Wraith King already has an Abyssal Blade. Has the Assault Curios, which is going to be helpful. Dealing with enemy team. Lion grab the cheese, has a Glimmer Cape. Okay, we're going to have to go back, see what happened there. I don't want to miss the fight. kpii in it. So kpii starts off this fight back at the base. I guess he had just pushing top. He TPs into this fight, immediately pops his BKB, immediately gets stunned through the BKB, and then immediately runs away as soon as Enchantress starts doing significant damage. Schwann gets owned by Lanham. Lanham is just doing disgusting damage. He's so tanky right now. It's very difficult to deal with. Broodmother does not match up well against a late game Wraith King. Broodmother's abilities were very helpful early game against a Wraith King because the Wraith King had nothing you can do against him. But Wraith King now with the Radiance is a very different thing. And a high level Wraith King, I should add. He's level 25. He's got his Reincarnation. He's got his significant bonus damage there for Mortal Strike. He's got his Vampiric Aura, always gaining health. He's always got that stun. And now he has Boots of Travel. Another reason I think that kpii got the Blink Dagger, and it's not something I thought about, because kpii is sort of like at this point, like a Nature's Prophet, split pushing. He needs to be able to quickly, I think, get out. And, you know, his webs tell people where he is. He can just sit there in invisibility and then TP out. First of all, he'll lose invisibility if he's TPing out. But he needs to be able to go invisible with his webs, walk into the woods, and then blink pretty far away, and then go ahead and TP away. That's his escape now. It's much harder for him to escape. So he pushes the lane as much as he can. He comes back to base, gets back to his teammates, so he can contribute as much to the fight as possible. And he actually goes for the Assault Cuirass. And you know, who else would carry that on his team? He has to be, they need Assault Cuirass to try to counter the Assault Cuirass of the Wraith King. So now it's a little more of an even fight. Because the Assault Cuirass, since we're scrubs, we'll go ahead and go over what it does. Gives attack speed to nearby allied units and structures. It decreases the armor. The armor ally bonus is 5. The aura enemy reduction is 5. So if you have an Assault Cuirass, your enemy has 5 less armor and you have 5 more armor. That's a difference of 10. It's very powerful. If the enemy team also has an Assault Cuirass, well, that means it really doesn't do much. You've counteracted the Assault Cuirass on the enemy team. It's one of those kind of like a escalated weapons of war, where, you know, one person gets a bigger weapon, another person gets an even bigger weapon, and the arms race, as they call it, and that's very important to be able to deal with the Assault Cuirass. And if Broodmother really has nothing else to buy except stun, and so there's the fight starting. The Broodmother once again just blinks in, ults, blinks, ults, some combination of that. EKBs, is able to do as much damage as possible. Is going to get a nice bash off. That's very nice. And that's the contribution that Broodmother's making. Broodmother is slowing through BKB. Broodmother is sapping life, dealing damage. And then, oh my gosh, first attack bash, bashing the enemy, which is pretty nasty. Chasing after enemies, very good chaser. Now this might be the attack that is finally able to break the back of EHOME. That was a really good initiation. EHOME was in a very tough position. We'll just go through that once again just to make sure we can see exactly what's going on in the fight. And you know, this is we were just talking about the Assault Cuirass, how important that is. And there's a big team fight. And kpii needs to be in the middle of it to make sure that Assault Cuirass radius is part of it. So kpii is an important part of this fight. kpii is pushing top. Meanwhile, the fight's going on. He sees what's going on. He immediately starts to go down. His Blink Dagger is stuck at 4 seconds. He can't contribute yet. See what order he does. So he actually walks over the cliff, is invis, casts his BKB, casts his ult, goes on the Enchantress. His attack speed bonus with Insatiable Hunger actually doesn't have an attack speed bonus, but he does do a significant amount of bonus damage. He's going to help take down the Enchantress. He's in the fight. They need the Assault Curious to be in the fight. He's right on top of the Wraith King. Immediately attacks Old Chicken and bashes Old Chicken. Immediate stun Old Chicken. How lucky is that? So he is not only reducing the armor and boosting his enemy team's armor, but he is chasing. He's a constant menace. He goes over to the ice. He goes over to ice. Instant bash. Stops the damage on his friendly teammate, although I think his friendly teammate died at that point. Now he's the target. He gets stunned. He gets hit hard. He does have Assault Curious. He's actually Abyssal Bladed. And he's chasing. Spawn Spiderlings, nasty spell. And that's the fight that broke the back. So how does he capitalize on this? He probably just stays in lane. He needs some health. Uses his ult to regain a little bit of health, so he can sustain the push. He does a ton of damage with each hit, so you can tell that when he's doing that much, getting that much health for each hit. Blinks in, immediately goes to attack the Wraith King. Wants to be in the center of this fight, wants to be able to do as much damage as possible. He is not the primary kill target. He's not going to be the target that people try to kill first. That's going to be the Gyro. That's going to be the Death Prophet. And as long as the Prophet has her ult up. So that's helpful. He can actually be in here and do this, and nobody's going to care. Well, they care, but nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. Okay, so that's the end of the game here. I think it's worthwhile reviewing what he contributed to this game. He was a menace. He forced the Wraith King to go certain items. He forced the Wraith King to, so starting from the very beginning, he gets in the lane, he puts constant pressure on the lane, he only gets ganked once, and he doesn't really get ganked any more than that. He's able to create really good pressure on the tower. The Wraith King really can't farm, actually ends up killing the Wraith King pretty early on with just a Doom, and that scares the heck out of the Wraith King. The Wraith King has to stay pretty far back, probably has to farm his jungle until he gets a Radiance. So, you know, kpii really pushed pretty much all of those top towers up to the tier 3. He was actually pushing on the tier 3 tower before he finally was stopped, and that's about the time that the Wraith King got a Radiance. Well, I question whether Wraith King would have gotten a Radiance in this game otherwise. Maybe Wraith King does to help Wraith King farm, and that's a significant factor. I think that's something that Wraith King might have gotten anyway, but maybe not. Maybe Wraith King would have done a different item. Maybe that would have contributed better to Wraith King's abilities to win team fights. Maybe not. You know, and I think that the Broodmother played pretty well, trying to being able to deal with a Wraith King that just sat in the lane with a Radiance and a Blade Mail, and was able to deal with the little Spiderlings. You know, Broodmother got boots of travel. It was able to travel all over the map so that Broodmother wasn't just stuck in one lane being countered by a Wraith King, and then being ganked and so on and so forth. So, you know, after that, she went for a Basher. kpii went for a Basher, then went for an Assault Curious to negate the Assault Curious in the enemy team, the Wraith King. And honestly, that last fight there was the first fight they had with an Assault Curious. And he wasn't even to the fight right away. I wonder whether or not they would have been able to do as well. He did get 2 lucky first bashes. He immediately attacked the hero and he got a bash. And that made a very big difference. So it wasn't the biggest contributor, I think, late mid to end game here, but did enough. You know, was in the middle of the fight, not a high priority target for enemy to kill, but was a constant menace, regaining hell, basically has his own satanic because of his ultimate, can keep sustaining the push. If you don't kill him and your enemy team dies, then he's going to be in your base. So that's that constant present push. He kind of becomes an aura hero later on, maybe a little bit of, he does have that satiable bite that's able to go through the BKB and slow the enemy team down. He's able to chase after heroes. And I think kpii did a pretty good job playing him to the best of Broodmother's abilities. So if I'm ever in a scrub match, now I know what to do. And I know how to play. I know where to put my. I know what to buy first. I know where to put my webs. I know how to contribute to team fights later on. Things that you don't necessarily know just by doing this on your own. Yeah, I kind of get lost when I play Broodmother, but watching this really helps. So, well, I hope you enjoy this scrub cast of Broodmother. You can go try Broodmother out yourself. Until next time, good luck and have fun.